Alright, so Bungie's did the changes to Call to Arms. We're gonna go over like the max score and how to make it pretty easy for yourself and explain what they changed. So basically what they changed is that if you're 500 power, you are able to be on par to somebody who is 550. So as long as you put the same modifiers on, then you'll be able to get the same amount of points if you are 550. Now, of course, what they expect is that if you're 300 power and you're doing a master difficulty, then you should be roughly top 30%. And then if you're 400 power and you're doing grandmaster difficulty, you should be top 10% doing the max modifiers. But then if you're doing 500 power at ultimate difficulty, then you should be seeing the same amount of score at max modifiers to 550 power as well. So that's the main changes there. As long as you're 500, you're good to go to getting top 1% in this activity or any of the activities in this event as well. So there is that. The other changes are pretty big as well. I keep saying as well, my bad. So you have the boons over here. So these green boons used to be negative to your score, but now they are positive. Well, not positive, net zero. They don't increase, they don't decrease. So you can actually, if you build craft around these boons to make it a lot easier, and it does. These do help a lot. Some of these are crazy, and we'll show you guys obviously what I used to get this done. Other changes here we have is the player stakes. So there was this player stakes over here where bows were the only +5 reward multiplier, but now everything else is +5 except for avant-garde, but we can talk about this later. And then the last thing they changed was that they removed the protected modifier. So the protected modifier was automatically applied. You could remove it, but they would remove score. So they just made it where the closed danger trade-off is now 4 instead of 2. So they removed that drone thingy because it was annoying and also buggy. So that's good. Okay, so let's go back to these player stakes. So player stakes, honestly, you can pick a specific loadout, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you can have it where it's restricted to certain weapon types, but if you read it correctly, it just says even your armor loadout is still restricted to new gear. So at the end of the day, the best one to pick is Touche. It's the same thing where you can use all weapons, any weapons you want, and new gear is also locked. But the difference is that is equipment locked. But are you gonna swap weapons during this? Probably not. So just pick one loadout, pick the guns you want to use. You probably don't need to swap your weapons. So as long as you have the weapons you like a lot, then you can use all of them from new gear, and that's it. So these ones you can swap whenever you want, but like only for that archetype. But I'm pretty sure Touche is probably your best choice. So there's that. Okay, so let's go over one last thing before we start. I think the biggest thing I always forget to mention because it's just ingrained to my brain. But there is one extra thing of earning more points, and it's the reward pass. The reward pass has a score bonus of 15%. So you're no matter what, you'll get 15% extra bonus if you have the reward pass bought. So this will make a huge difference in terms of your score at the end of the day. If you don't have this, then it's going to be difficult to get top 1% even at 500 and with all the changes here. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it could be impossible. I don't know. For salt mines, I think other activities, if you do like the coil or you do heliostat or proving grounds, I think you have a better chance. I think salt mines is going to be very min-maxed. I think the other activities will be played less, and I think you have a better chance of getting a higher score for those activities. This is for salt mines, which is going to get a bit crazy in terms of scoring, that's for sure. And then the one big thing as well, other than the reward bonus from the battle pass or reward pass, is the high value target. High value target can spawn randomly during a run. With these new changes, I have to go update my score to 3.3 mil. And it really did was it took me 2 runs to get the high value target, and that's it. So sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get lucky, but at the end of the day, I need to still do runs for for daily quests and in my event rank if I want to get the title finished for this event. So I don't mind rerunning if I missed the high value target, or if there isn't one. I don't mind doing it again because I want to get XP for the event track. So up to you, but that's how I feel about that. Now, let's go about the modifiers. We'll be running what I ran for this run here. So very simply, we're gonna pick these ones that are easy, which is I'm gonna be caltrops, very easy to dodge. The rest a bit annoying. And then we use stasis threat, so it's +5, and there's not much stasis attacks other than the minotaur that spawns in. Then we will use grounded. It's not a big deal if you use brawn, which we are. Then we're going to put on slow and small. Makes no difference at all. You don't even see a difference for damage wise. Then we have glass cannon. No difference when using brawn as well. And then we're going to put on famine. You don't really need that much ammo. If you're maybe you want to use something else, then if you have a void weapon or using a slow weapon, then sure, match game is fine. Instead of using famine. But if you're using like an ability spam a loadout, like, then you're not going to need to have ammo at the beginning, and you can find those chests that give you max ammo for that special or heavy. So there is that. Then we're going to pressure cooker, because you shouldn't take that long to finish it. Like I said, I explained this already. We're using touche because it's +5, but also the only thing it does is that it locks your loadout, but you can use any archetype weapon instead of being locked between these very small amounts like 5 or 2. I would just recommend I don't think you need to swap weapons, so I would recommend just using touche. It's just a better option. Then no sorting ammo because you don't need it. And then brawn, which is very, very useful for having glass cannon and grounded, as long as you have a little bit of healing. And plus, brawn gives you a chance to, when you kill enemies, you drop a healing orb, which heals you a lot. So I recommend this one. And then we have extinction. I mean, 1 life is good enough. You don't need that much for the most part. Now, we're going to go with the boons. So like I said, the boons do not negative modify, decrease the modifier anymore. So what I use is obviously based off my loadout. If you want to use a surge, you can. I think I used solar. I use solar a lot. And then I used Slayer, I think, because you're going to be the player the most final blows no matter what. And then I'm going to use Fury. And Fury is good because it gives you heavy ammo. It gives you ability energy and weapon damage, weapon buffs as well. So that's just these two are good because you're going to be doing that, and the rest, it could be other ones. It could be, I think was it? Maybe I didn't use Slayer. Maybe I used Full Throttle. Either one, Full Throttle, Fury. You shouldn't be dying. So maybe I did use Full Throttle. I don't know. We'll double check. All right, so here's our run for the modifiers. It was Full Throttle and Fury for sure. Now we're using a SMG with retrograde, and then I'm using sleeper as our heavy, and because we have touche, not big deal. Now, one thing to note if you're listening here, actually, you know what? I'll say at the end because it's just, I don't know, it doesn't matter that much. So you do remember that you do need an unstoppable champion mod in order to stun the champion. So there's that thing to worry about with your loadout. Of course, one great thing with the artifacts mods this season is the one where threadlings can stun a champion. So if you have a way to spawn threadlings, or you have hatchling, or you have the other modifier where if you're using strand damage, can spawn threadlings, or not threadlings, hatchlings, then you can just stun by just shooting it with your retrograde, which has been very great this season. That's for sure. So you can see how fast we clear this now without relying on bows as our weapon types. Of course, what helps a lot is the ability spam with this warlock build, the buddy build, whatever it's called. Very strong builds that's coming out recently. I never used it until doing this event. I never really thought to use it. I've been playing my own builds here and there. Now, there's no more shields. There's no more crazy like Bane that makes things annoying. You just gotta make sure you clear the entire area, and then that's it. I don't know I don't know how much time matters. I think I cleared this in 6 minutes, or 6 minutes left on the clock. I just don't know how much time actually matters in the multiplier. I'm not totally sure. So as soon as you kill everything, as long as you see the pop-up of getting points, which is plus 1667, funny number, then you can just get ready to go to the next part of the map. Now, here is going to be the high value target that would be spawning in here. Now, like very important is it's on a timer. You have to kill this high value target as fast as possible. So use everything you have in order to get this kill. So you can kind of see it glowing in the dark. This captain that will be spawning a vandal bubble as part of its abilities changing and stuff from that one season. Take an update. So all you gotta do is just straight up just burst it down. That's supposed to gives you 1,500 points on top of the 10k you normally get for just doing every objective, right? And that's pretty much it. You know, we just gotta do the boss fight as you would, and we still have 8 minutes left on the clock here. So go as fast as possible, kill the champion here, kill the blight, clear the room, and then an ogre should spawn. Killing the ogre will go ahead and finish the room, basically. As soon as you kill the ogre, it should be good to go at that point. Sleeper helps a lot, I would say. And this one retrograde shot good enough to take out the blight, and then just gotta wait for the ogre to spawn by clearing out the area, and then you are good to go with that. So take it. Ogre is spawning now. Kill ogre. Usually has a bane on it most of the time. Used to have the protective bane, which was also annoying. Well, that's gone. That saves us some time. Now the blight's gonna despawn, and now we'll kill the boss. Boss first bar is you just take it down as fast as possible, and then once that is done, the taken blight will spawn around this area. Take out the taken blight as you would. And then a goop, you should get a buff to light empowerment to break the shield. Then you gotta take out 2 bars to get to the next immune phase, like so. And then you wait for the next blight. It can bug out in terms in a good way, where his immune phase disappears, but the blight, you don't have to destroy the blight. So for this one, we destroy the blight and try not to die from taking damage from our sleeper. And then that's it. That is 11,601, which is the max score you could get in points. And then we'll see at the end here our score at 550 power. As we have, you'll see at the bottom here our score we got, which is 3.3,900,000 or 94,000. 3.3, almost 3.4, but 3.3. I don't know if it's max score, but it's enough to be top 1% and probably for the rest of the event, I would say. Now, like I said, I was going to say this earlier, but so if you're 500 power or below 550, it's going to say a different score than what you get at the end of the activity. So what you need to do is check here to see your actual score. The score that pops up at the end, it shouldn't, maybe, I don't know, I can't tell, but that shouldn't be the right one. But check at this UI to see your actual score. That should be it. Excuse me. Anyways, so that's it. That's the video. Modifiers. Hopefully it helps. And this is the min maxing for this one. Yeah, like I said, you can do the other activities. It might be fine as well. But to get top 1%, this one's gonna be grinded like a lot because it's easy to do.